The next day, Shengyu woke up naturally and slowly opened his eyes. A dull ache in his temples made him close his eyes again and rest for a moment before reopening them, looking around at the unfamiliar surroundings with a puzzled expression. A hotel? Shengyu tapped his head and sat up. The pain in his waist stopped him from pondering much as the pure white duvet slipped down, revealing broad shoulders, a narrow waist, and firm pectoral muscles. Shengyu stiffened all over. His first reaction was to throw back the duvet, and when he saw his completely naked self beneath the covers, waves of dizziness washed over him. Last night, what happened? Shengyu tried hard to remember. Fragments of memory in his mind made his thick brows furrow tighter and tighter. His entire body felt hot, and the hand gripping the duvet trembled. He kissed Song Qingxiao last night. Shengyu pressed his lips together tightly, then quickly released them. A flicker of emotion, difficult to identify as annoyance or shyness, quickly passed through his eyes. What happened after the kiss? How'd he end up in a hotel? And without clothes? Shengyu hastily searched for his phone. He found it on the bedside table, and after reaching for it and picking it up, he saw a note and 100 yuan pressed beneath it. Your clothes are dirty. I had someone prepare a new set for you and leave it at the front desk. You can call and have someone bring them up. Also, your car was driven away by a designated driver to take Jiangmi and Zhaoqing. After you wake up, hail a taxi and go home obediently. Left by Song Qingxiao. Shengyu, whose past romantic experience was a blank slate, misunderstood. He wrapped himself in the duvet, tightly clutching the note and 100 yuan in his hand, his expression a mix of anger and grievance. What did Song Qingxiao mean by this? Was he only worth 100 yuan? Shengyu's misunderstanding of the previous night continued until he hailed a taxi back to Huagang racetrack and was about to pay. It was then that he realized his phone was out of battery. The taxi driver, seeing this, pointed to the red banknote in his hand and reminded him, cash is fine too. Shengyu suddenly realized the 100 yuan was left by Song Qingxiao for his taxi fare, not. His originally gloomy mood instantly brightened, and Shengyu's lips couldn't help but curl up high. He only reined it in when he met the taxi driver's suspicious gaze. But he looked at the money in his hand, and after 2 seconds of hesitation, he still couldn't bear to part with it. Sir, please wait a moment. I'll have a friend come pay. As he finished speaking, the taxi driver subtly glanced at Shengyu, then at the money in his hand, thinking to himself, this young man looks quite dashing, but why is he so stingy? After Jiangmi came and helped pay, he couldn't help but circle around, scrutinizing Shengyu, who had changed clothes. Shengyu gave him a faint glance. What are you looking at? Jiangmi said with a lewd expression, Brother you, did you and Sister Qiao last night? He clenched both fists and pressed his thumbs together twice. Shengyu's steps faltered, then he stared at Jiangmi coldly. Jiangmi, still immersed in his bizarre inner world, was completely unaware of the danger. A single man and a single woman, alcohol getting to their heads, dry wood and fierce fire, nonstop all night. Celebrate. We must celebrate. Shengyu flexed his wrist, his tone cool. Celebrate what? Jiangmi chuckled mischievously twice. Of course, to celebrate brother you ending his 25-year-long virginity. Shengyu reached out and grabbed Jiangmi's nape, saying sinisterly, Is that so? Jiangmi finally realized something was wrong. He quickly said in a fawning tone, Brother, what are you doing? I'm happy for you too, bro. Shengyu scoffed coldly. You don't need to be happy for me. Instead, I'd like to ask you, why did you abandon me to her last night? Who? Jiangmi's confused gaze, upon meeting Shengyu's chilly stare, dared not pretend anymore. You mean Sister Qiao? Shengyu gave him a look that said, You know perfectly well. Jiangmi let out a humph and breathed a slight sigh of relief. If it weren't for my quick thinking last night, how could you have enjoyed yourself so much? Enjoy? Didn't you enjoy it? Shengyu smiled, a particularly chilling smile. Jiangmi trembled, shaking like chaff. He opened his mouth to beg for mercy, but before he could say a word, Shengyu held him down and dealt with him. Wails and howls echoed throughout Huagang racetrack, startling a flock of resting birds from the rooftop. For the next 2 days, Shengyu didn't give Jiangmi a single pleasant look. Jiangmi finally couldn't take it anymore. This wasn't right. What man reacts like this after getting some action? Jiangmi racked his brains and called Song Qingxiao, asking what she had done to Shengyu. As soon as Song Qingxiao heard it, she knew it was her little puppy being awkward and throwing a tantrum. So she told Jiangmi not to worry. He'd be fine in a couple of days. But Jiangmi was worried that if things continued, he would be frozen to death by Shengyu's cold words and cold face. So he discussed with Song Qingxiao whether she could spare some time to appease Shengyu. Song Qingxiao said she was very busy with work lately and would appease him after she got through these 2 busy days. This was Song Qingxiao's usual way of dealing with a tantrum-throwing boyfriend, When she wasn't busy, a little appeasement was fine. When she had important matters to attend to, she handled it with cold treatment. Jiangmi choked a little, not knowing what to say. After hanging up, Jiangmi decided it was better to solve the problem in a man's way. So on Friday evening, he asked Gu Siyuan to help put together a gathering. A few drinks and an apology, and the matter would be resolved. Jiangmi felt that with an extra person there, he would at least be safe, but unexpectedly, through a strange twist of fate. In the noisy bar, Jiangmi watched Song Qingxiao, who was chatting happily with Gu Siyuan, and fell into thought. Asterisk, wasn't she too busy to even appease Shengyu? How could she be drinking with Gu Siyuan in a bar? Wasn't Gu Siyuan supposed to be helping arrange the gathering? How did he end up chatting with Song Qingxiao? And they look like they've known each other for a long time. Asterisk. Meanwhile, Shengyu, standing beside Jiangmi, was expressionless, but his gaze fixed on Song Qingxiao and Gu Siyuan was distinctly cold. Jiangmi cautiously said, Brother you. Shengyu retracted his gaze. Let's go. Aren't you going to buy me a drink? Jiangmi. Right, brother you, this way please. Song Qingxiao stood by the bar, resting her head in her hand, observing the flamboyant young man with white hair beside her. Gu Yunsu's cool, ascetic handsome face flashed before her eyes. Though they had different temperaments and looks, the two faces inexplicably merged in her mind. Despite there being no romantic entanglement between her and Gu Yunsu, they had, after all, been entangled for many years, so Song Qingxiao's mood suddenly became a little complex. Sister, you're the first person to understand this song. Let me buy you a drink. Gu Siyuan grinned, revealing two small canine teeth. He looked like a vibrant sunflower chasing the light, blooming in a field. Song Qingxiao had been emotionally exhausted and her worldview shattered by a melodramatic ethical divorce case recently, which was why she came to the bar to drink. Facing the vibrant little sunflower at this moment, she couldn't help but feel a little more relaxed. To toast a kindred spirit, Gu Siyuan repeated, a corner of his mouth curving as he gave a roguish smile. Yes, sister, you are my confidant. Song Qingxiao was amused. All right then, this drink. Sister Qiao, what are you doing here? Jiangmi suddenly interrupted Song Qingxiao. Song Qingxiao turned back, puzzled, her gaze automatically locking onto Shengyu. In the dim light of the bar, his imposing height and striking handsome face were still exceptionally eye-catching. He wore a cold face, with a hint of impatience in his expression, looking like someone saying, I'm fierce and not to be trifled with. But only Song Qingxiao knew that Shengyu was a naive little wolf dog who didn't even know to breathe while kissing. Song Qingxiao remembered Shengyu's confused and helpless appearance that night, and she couldn't help but let out a soft laugh. Shengyu met her gaze and inexplicably understood what she was thinking. His cheeks burned uncontrollably, and he gave her a shy, embarrassed glare. Song Qingxiao suppressed her laughter and looked away, answering Jiangmi's question. I finished work, came for a drink to relax. Didn't expect such a coincidence. Jiangmi laughed. Yeah, what a coincidence. Brother you and I were planning to meet up with Siyuan. Didn't expect you to be here too. Perfect, let's all hang out together. It'll be livelier with more people, right, brother you? Everyone's gazes instantly fell on Shengyu. Shengyu saw Song Qingxiao and Gu Siyuan standing side by side. His expression darkened a little. They might have other important things to do. Don't make it difficult for them. Jiangmi blinked. Asterisk, did brother you take the wrong medicine? Asterisk. Song Qingxiao raised an eyebrow, a teasing glint in her eyes. Asterisk TSK. He's jealous. Asterisk. Gu Siyuan's gaze moved back and forth between Song Qingxiao and Shengyu, a thoughtful look flashing across his face. A minute later, the four of them, each with their own thoughts, arrived at a booth. Thanks to Gu Siyuan being a resident singer at this bar, the waiter quickly brought drinks, along with a large fruit platter and snacks. However, the atmosphere was a bit awkward during seat allocation. It was a U-shaped sofa that could accommodate 6 people. Song Qingxiao sat in the corner, and Gu Siyuan then sat down her left. Jiangmi, seeing this, quickly pushed Shengyu to sit on Song Qingxiao's right. The three of them were thus squeezed into one corner of the sofa, leaving a large empty space on the other side. The scene looked a bit comical. Jiangmi gave a dry laugh. Why don't you guys move over here? Gu Siyuan leaned in. Brother you, why don't you move further in? Shengyu silently moved over, creating a considerable space. The next moment, Song Qingxiao also moved inward a little, still sitting close to Shengyu. Shengyu glanced at her, said nothing, but his expression clearly improved, though only for an instant. Gu Siyuan also stuck closer, and said with a roguish smile, Sister, I didn't squeeze you, did I? Jiangmi's heart, which had just relaxed, tensed up again. He kept winking at Gu Siyuan, but Gu Siyuan was too busy looking at Song Qingxiao to notice. Song Qingxiao smiled. You're so thin. How could you possibly squeeze me? Gu Siyuan said with a beaming smile. I look thin in clothes, but I'm muscular when I take them off. Jiangmi timidly glanced at Sheng Yu's tense face. His expression dropped, thinking, asterisk, what in the world is going on? Asterisk. At this moment, he suddenly heard Song Qingxiao say lazily, oh really? I can't tell. The next moment, Gu Siyuan, who was always casual, showy, and unconventional, abruptly lifted his pink t-shirt, revealing a large area of fair, delicate skin. He pointed to the neatly arranged little bread rolls on his stomach for Song Qingxiao to see. Sister, how about it? I wasn't lying, was I? Song Qingxiao examined him carefully and gave her assessment. Very good physique. Gu Siyuan smiled, like a peacock fanning its tail. Sheng Yu chugged a glass of whiskey. He slammed the glass on the table and abruptly stood up. Jiangmi shakily stood up. Brother Yu, where are you going? Sheng Yu threw out 3 words without looking back. Restroom. Then he strode away. Song Qingxiao gazed at his broad, departing back, and a meaningful curve slowly formed on her lips. Sheng Yu went to the restroom, leaning against the cold wall to calm his inexplicable emotions for a long time before turning on the tap and splashing water on his face. The cold water thoroughly sobered him up. When he walked out of the restroom, his expression was back to normal. However, his adjusted emotions began to fluctuate again when he saw Song Qingxiao, Jiangmi, and Gu Siyuan laughing and playing dice. In the few minutes since Sheng Yu left, Jiangmi had already taken his original seat next to Song Qingxiao, exclaiming and applauding, urging Gu Siyuan to drink a penalty. Gu Siyuan cheerfully drank the penalty, then picked up the dice cup and pestered Song Qingxiao to teach him how to play. Song Qingxiao smiled and agreed. Her next action made Sheng Yu's pupils constrict. He saw her slender hand holding Gu Siyuan's hand, teaching him how to shake the dice cup, an unusually intimate posture. When the points were revealed, they indeed won against Jiangmi. Jiangmi reluctantly drank his penalty, then pulled Song Qingxiao, asking her to teach him too. Sheng Yu watched Song Qingxiao, embraced by 2, and having a blast, almost grinding his back teeth. His deep eyes reddened, and the grievance in them was unmistakable. Sheng Yu returned to the booth with a dark face. Jiangmi casually said, Brother Yu's back, then eagerly opened the dice cup and excitedly announced, I won, see you and drink. Gu Siyuan shot him a sidelong glance, tugging at Song Qingxiao's sleeve to complain, Sister, you're helping him bully me. Jiangmi wasn't happy. Didn't Sister Qiao help you last round? What? Only Sister Qiao can help you, but not me. Gu Siyuan stiffened his neck. Yes, no. Jiangmi, hey you. The two started arguing loudly across Song Qingxiao. Song Qingxiao couldn't help but let out a soft laugh, her peripheral vision catching a figure silently drinking. She couldn't help but look at him. Sheng Yu rested his elbows on his knees, drinking silently, his chiseled jawline tight, as if enduring something. Song Qingxiao narrowed her eyes, understanding dawned on her. The little wolf cub was not only proud, but also very innocent. If they followed a normal courtship, chasing and being chased, who knew how much time they would waste? In terms of relationships, Song Qingxiao considered herself to be fickle. She worried that before she could hook this little cub, she would get bored herself. So, even though she knew Sheng Yu was jealous, she didn't make any move. Instead, all right, Jiangmi, Siyuan, I'll drink this cup for both of you. Sister, how can we let you drink this? Exactly, Sister Qiao, you didn't even lose. Gu Siyuan and Jiangmi both tried to snatch the wine from her hand. Song Qingxiao smiled and dodged backward. The 3 of them were in a playful mess when a highly imposing figure, radiating a cold aura, approached. Before any of the 3 could react, he leaned over, snatched the raised wine glass from Song Qingxiao, brought it to his lips, and tilted his head back, revealing his prominent Adam's apple, which moved up and down twice as he swallowed all the liquid in the glass. The 3 stared at him blankly until Sheng Yu bent down and thumped the glass onto the table, making the 3 snap back to reality. Jiangmi, Brother Yu. Sheng Yu ignored him and stared intently at Song Qingxiao. Song Qingxiao, I have something to tell you. Song Qingxiao raised an eyebrow, pretending not to understand him. Gu Siyuan grumbled. What do you have to say to Sister? As soon as he finished speaking, Sheng Yu's dark eyes suddenly became incredibly sharp, his hands at his sides clenched tightly. He then looked coldly at Song Qingxiao and repeated, Song Qingxiao, I have something to tell you. Okay. Song Qingxiao stood up. Gu Siyuan remained seated, grumbling Sister. At this point, Jiangmi had already reacted, quickly standing up and making way. Sister Qiao, go this way. He didn't forget to glare at Gu Siyuan. Song Qingxiao smiled and thanked him, then walked around the table to Sheng Yu. Before she could open her mouth, a large hand gripped her wrist, then pulled her forcefully, dragging her out. Brother, what are you doing? Gu Siyuan's bewildered voice came from behind, then silence. Song Qingxiao glanced back. Jiang Mi, the clever one, had pounced and covered Gu Siyuan's mouth. She couldn't help but curl her lips, then turned to observe Shang Yu's exquisite profile, secretly anticipating his performance later. They arrived outside the bar, standing face to face. The slightly cool night breeze blew, and Shang Yu regained some reason. He lowered his eyes to look at the wrist he was tightly gripping, his lips pressed together. Song Qingxiao knew the little wolf cub was struggling after his impulsive act. However, he had already taken the first step, and she didn't mind giving him another push. Song Qingxiao took the initiative to start a conversation. Hey, what's wrong? Shang Yu looked up, glaring at her with a mix of grievance and annoyance. Song Qingxiao swayed the arm he was holding. Didn't you have something to tell me? Shang Yu let go, clenching his hands into fists. Song Qingxiao, how much do you remember about what happened when we drank last time? Song Qingxiao chuckled. Under his displeased gaze, she took a step closer, narrowing the distance between them, and whispered, how much do you remember? Shang Yu lowered his gaze, emotions swirling in his dark eyes, a faint, almost imperceptible tension visible. I only remember that I kissed you. Song Qingxiao was slightly surprised. You kissed me? Shang Yu's expression changed, the tension in his eyes vanishing, replaced by confusion. Didn't I? Song Qingxiao smiled. You did, very soft, very deep, and very forceful. Shang Yu paused for a moment before realizing what she meant, and said with a mix of embarrassment and annoyance, Song Qingxiao. Song Qingxiao tried to suppress the rising corners of her lips. I'm listening. Keep going. Shang Yu turned his face away, looking at the busy street, pretending to be nonchalant. What do you think? Song Qingxiao played dumb. I just said very soft, very deep, and very forceful, but the technique was mediocre needs. Before she could finish, Shang Yu glared at her with eyes spitting fire. Song Qingxiao. Shang Yu's voice was low and carried a strong warning. Song Qingxiao reached out and gently tugged on the front of his t-shirt, pulling him closer until their bodies lightly touched through their thin summer clothes. Then how about we try again, and I'll fill out a new experience review? Her voice was very soft, carried away by the evening breeze and dissipated into the night. But Shang Yu's heart was not only racing, but his breathing was also erratic. In a daze, he wrapped his long arms around her waist, as slender and firm as he had imagined. Before he could fully savor the feeling, he lifted her and kissed her at an angle that was effortless for Song Qingxiao. Song Qingxiao was startled at first, then closed her eyes, diligently cooperating with his movements. His lips were very soft, but unfortunately, he only licked her lips like a puppy. Song Qingxiao sighed inwardly, but also felt an indescribable excitement. She proactively reached out and hooked his neck. His body suddenly stiffened, and even his breathing stopped. Song Qingxiao stifled a laugh and pried open his lips, teasing and entangling his tongue. Shang Yu's arms around her waist suddenly tightened, squeezing her a little painfully. Song Qingxiao lightly bit his tongue as a punishment, then became even more audacious. Ambiguous smacking sounds continuously emanated, making one's face flush and heart pound just by listening. Shang Yu's breathing finally resumed, but became hot and hurried. He mimicked her actions and began to take the lead. It had to be said that Shang Yu was an extremely talented student. He learned quickly and could even generalize from one example. However, his kisses were deep and heavy, as if he wanted to devour her, making it difficult to bear. Song Qingxiao whimpered and tried to dodge, but he relentlessly pursued her. In the end, Song Qingxiao felt completely dizzy. She didn't know how long they kissed. When they finally separated, both were breathless. The silver thread between their lips stretched to its limit, and then snapped with a pop. The evening breeze blew, leaving their lips cool and tingly. Song Qingxiao was weak all over, leaning limply against his chest, listening to his rapid and powerful heartbeat. Her voice was languid. You performed really well this time. Your kissing technique has improved a lot, but... Her voice paused, and she bit his firm chest in frustration. Shang Yu let out a muffled groan, caught off guard. His voice was still hoarse from unreleased tension and indescribable sexiness. Song Qingxiao's ears trembled, and a tiny current seemed to glide down her back, a tingling sensation that felt very subtle. Song Qingxiao, don't bully me, he gasped, his voice filled with restraint. Song Qingxiao felt his body change and quickly let go. His reddened eyes seemed to be filled with water. His swollen lips were tightly pressed together in suppression, making him look both desirable and alluring. Shang Yu forced himself to meet her gaze for a moment, then, like last time, suddenly buried his face in her shoulder. His hot breath seeped through her thin shirt onto her skin, making her tremble slightly. She unconsciously held her breath. Song Qingxiao, what is our relationship now? His voice was hoarse. Song Qingxiao's mind was in a daze. After a long struggle, she regained her senses. What do you say our relationship is now? Even after just experiencing an intimate kiss, Song Qingxiao remained as scummy as ever, neither clarifying, rejecting, nor taking responsibility. Shengyu had no idea about Song Qingxiao's scummy girl mindset. He suppressed his shyness and said in a muffled voice, Song Qingxiao, I like you, be my girlfriend. This wasn't the first time Song Qingxiao had heard these words, but it was the first time Shengyu had said them. That depends on your performance. Song Qingxiao raised her hand and gently stroked his head. His dark stubble looked hard and prickly, but it felt soft to the touch, making her palm itch, just like Shengyu himself. Shengyu looked up dissatisfied. Why? Song Qingxiao lightly poked his lips. You kissed too forcefully just now. Not only did it make my tongue sore and numb, but it also almost made me unable to breathe. With each sentence Song Qingxiao spoke, Shengyu's face grew redder. His fierce eyes instantly became watery, filled with shyness and grievance. Song Qingxiao's heart itched with longing. She couldn't help but pinch his face. Next time, perform well. Make me satisfied, okay? Shengyu turned his face away, leaving only a bright red ear facing her, and said uncomfortably, Got it. I'll try my best. Over the next few days, whenever Shengyu had free time, whether at the Huagang racetrack or the motorcycle custom shop, he would be found tucked away in a corner studying. As Shengyu's close brother, Jiangmi was the first to notice something was off. So, while Shengyu was engrossed in his phone, Jiangmi secretly went to Shengyu's office in the shop and pulled up the surveillance footage. What he saw almost made Jiangmi faint from laughter. Shengyu was actually watching a sickeningly sweet idol drama, the kind where the male and female leads were hugging, kissing, and nibbling at each other. Unaware that his little secret had been discovered, Shengyu watched, occasionally pausing and rewinding to painstakingly study each frame. Just then, Jiangmi quietly approached and suddenly yelled, Yugo, into his ear. Startled, Shengyu quickly locked his phone screen, then looked displeasedly at Jiangmi. Were you chased by a dog? So jumpy. To be honest, his cold, cool guy demeanor was quite intimidating. Unfortunately, knowing that this cool guy secretly watched fluffy romance dramas, the cool guy filter immediately shattered into pieces whenever Jiangmi thought of it. Jiangmi couldn't hold back a chuckle. Then he laughed so hard he couldn't straighten up, as if someone had tickled his funny bone. Shengyu frowned, a strong sense of disdain in his eyes. Jiangmi, if you're sick, go see a doctor. Don't go around scaring people. Jiangmi, wiping away tears from laughter at the corner of his eyes, asked, Yuge, did something happen to you recently? Shengyu looked at him with an expression that clearly said, You're truly quite sick. Jiangmi choked for a moment, then said sarcastically, I wonder who it is secretly hiding in a corner watching people kiss and hold hands. Shengyu's expression froze, his gaze falling coldly on Jiangmi's neck, his finger joints cracking as he clenched them. Jiangmi then remembered and quickly clapped a hand over his mouth, backing away cautiously. Shengyu stood up, closing in step by step. Jiangmi took off running, but Shengyu caught up in a few strides, kicking him in the backside and sending him sprawling onto a lounge chair. Jiangmi wailed, Yugo, I was wrong. I promise I won't tell anyone you watch people kiss. Shengyu sneered and approached again. Jiangmi apologized profusely, which finally made Shengyu stop. He returned to his chair in the corner, and, as he was about to open his phone again, he glanced up at the surveillance camera, then dragged his chair into a blind spot. Jiangmi slumped on the lounge chair, patted his chest, and let out a long breath. Seeing Shengyu's protesting too much look, he couldn't help but ask curiously, Yugo, what's gotten into you these past 2 days? Why are you suddenly watching stuff like that? Shengyu shot him a warning glance. Mind your own business. Jiangmi opened his mouth, then racked his brain, and a flash of inspiration struck him. He tentatively asked, Is it because of Sister Qiao? Shengyu looked up, his dark eyes full of warning. Jiangmi swallowed hard. Yugo, believe me, watching that kind of stuff is useless. Shengyu's gaze softened, clearly giving him permission to continue. Jiangmi hadn't expected to actually guess correctly. He was already bursting with laughter internally. How could anyone be so innocent as to use sweet idol dramas as study material? However, he dared not show it on his face, for fear of angering Shengyu. Yugo, wait a moment. I'll find you some comprehensive study materials. Jiangmi got up and went into Shengyu's office, rummaging through a cabinet. Shengyu, curious, followed him in, just as Jiangmi pulled out a small box with a password lock. Isn't this your old relationship memento? I'm kidding. Who keeps ex's stuff after a breakup? Jiangmi said, opening the box, which was filled with discs. Shengyu frowned. You bought so many movie discs? Jiangmi's lips quirked into a mischievous smile. These are all good stuff? out of print on the market. Now, for your happiness, brother, I'm dedicating them all to you. Shengyu stepped forward and picked up a disc. The cover was pitch black, giving no clue as to its content, but he knew Jiangmi, and he knew men, so these couldn't be those kinds of movies, could they? Yeah, my brother's still smart. You want me to study with this? What's wrong with watching this? What man doesn't watch it? Jiangmi paused. Oh, right, you don't. But you're about to start dating, so you should probably learn systematically, shouldn't you? Sheng Yu's brow furrowed so deeply it could trap a fly. I know how. Jiangmi's mouth twitched. Every man knows how, but knowing how and doing it well are two different concepts. It's like you can read, but can you write a masterpiece? Sheng Yu. Hard to argue with that. Jiangmi pressed on. Besides, Sister Qiao clearly has experience with relationships. Do you want to be worse than her exes? Sheng Yu's face darkened, and he stared at him with a chilling gaze. Jiangmi flinched, muttering under his breath. All right, fine, don't watch them. I usually can't even bear to watch these treasures myself. Just as he was about to pack them away, Sheng Yu stretched out a long arm, snatched the box, and turned to leave. Jiangmi exclaimed, Hey, where are you going? Sheng Yu replied without looking back, To study. Jiangmi, that's too eager. It's still broad daylight. Sheng Yu carried the box back to his own home. Living alone wasn't inconvenient, but after glancing at the glaring sunlight outside the window, he still chose to draw the curtains, then took his laptop back to his room. Before long, faint, cooing sounds began to emanate from the bedroom. At 4 in the afternoon, Song Qingxiao left the courthouse, got into her car, unbuttoned the 2 top buttons of her shirt, and checked her phone. Sheng Yu hadn't sent her a single message all day. Usually, although he didn't send many messages, he would never be completely silent like today. What happened? Song Qingxiao muttered to herself, checked the time, hesitated for a moment, then dialed Sheng Yu's number. A few seconds later, the call connected, and Sheng Yu's unsteady breathing came through the phone. Song Qingxiao frowned in confusion. What are you doing? Why are you breathing so heavily? There was a 2-second silence on the call. Then Sheng Yu said somewhat unnaturally, Nothing. Why are you calling me at this hour? Song Qingxiao had met countless people, especially men, so Sheng Yu's abnormality did not escape her notice. Song Qingxiao narrowed her eyes, then said nonchalantly, I just left the high-tech zone court. I thought it was getting late, so I wanted to ask you to dinner. Are you free now? I can pick you up. Sheng Yu was taken aback. Pick me up? Song Qingxiao's voice was faint. What's wrong? Is it inconvenient? Sheng Yu, no. I'm not a Huagang. I'm at home. At this hour at home? And breathing like that? Countless guesses instantly flashed through Song Qingxiao's mind, and her expression immediately turned cold. Seeing Song Qingxiao remain silent, Sheng Yu grew anxious. Where are you going later? I'll come find you. Never mind. I just remembered there's something at the law firm. Song Qingxiao, you already said you wanted to have dinner with me. Before Song Qingxiao could speak, she heard a crashing sound on the other end, followed by an indescribable noise, mixed with several garbled Japanese phrases. The sounds grew loud, then soft, then loud again, before finally disappearing. Even through the phone, Song Qingxiao could imagine someone scrambling frantically. Song Qingxiao remained silent on her end, and the other end of the phone was even more silent. Song Qingxiao had a pretty good idea what Sheng Yu was doing. She looked at the still intense sunlight outside the car window, at a loss for words for a moment. After several seconds, Song Qingxiao cleared her throat. According to our country's laws, browsing pornographic websites constitutes accessing obscene online information, which is a general illegal act. If there is also downloading or copying involved, it is suspected of violating the Public Security Administration punishment law, categorized as the illegal copying of obscene materials, and will be subject to detention or fines. Sheng Yu's voice was urgent. I'm not. Song Qingxiao was very understanding. Even better if you're not. I'm just giving you some legal knowledge. Let's strive to be good, law-abiding citizens. Song Qingxiao. Are you saying you don't believe me? Song Qingxiao fell silent. With such clear sounds, it was hard for her to lie with a straight face. Sheng Yu's voice sounded somewhat exasperated. I didn't mean to watch that kind of stuff. I was just trying to learn. Song Qingxiao was puzzled. Learn? Sheng Yu didn't speak. Only his heavy, panting breaths came through the phone, clearly indicating he was quite upset. Song Qingxiao thought it over carefully and suddenly understood. An innocent puppy who didn't even know how to kiss wouldn't be hiding at home, watching those kinds of movies in broad daylight for no reason. She suppressed a smile. Are you studying knowledge in that area? Sheng Yu ground his back teeth, then gave a heavy humph as his answer. The image of Sheng Yu's current shamefaced and awkward expression flashed before Song Qingxiao's eyes, and she couldn't help but burst out laughing. Sheng Yu gritted his teeth. Song Qingxiao, don't laugh. Song Qingxiao stifled her laughter. Okay, I won't laugh. Hey you, tell me, what have you learned? Sheng Yu. A moment later, Song Qingxiao looked at her disconnected phone and burst out laughing again. Half an hour later, Song Qingxiao drove to Sheng Yu's apartment building, parked her car according to the address Jiangmi had given her, and dialed Sheng Yu's number again. This time, the phone rang for a long time before someone answered. Sheng Yu's voice sounded a little uncomfortable. Song Qingxiao was much more serious this time. Change your clothes and come downstairs. Sheng Yu gave a questioning him. Song Qingxiao explained, I'm here to pick you up for dinner. Sheng Yu was momentarily stunned, then quickly went to the window to look down, where he indeed saw a familiar silver Porsche. First, a deep joy showed in his eyes, followed by a struggle. If it weren't for the embarrassing incident that day, he would have gone down without hesitation, but Song Qingxiao urged, hurry up, I'm hungry. Let's go eat. Sheng Yu instinctively replied, I'll be right down. After the call ended, Sheng Yu irritably ran a hand through his hair. 5 minutes later, Sheng Yu came downstairs, walked to the passenger side, opened the car door, and got in. Song Qingxiao smiled at him. Down so quickly? Sheng Yu's face was straight. Afraid you're hungry. Song Qingxiao reached out and hooked his chin, sighing so well-behaved. Sheng Yu's ear tips suddenly turned red, and he said awkwardly, Aren't you hungry? As he spoke, he tried to turn his face away, but Song Qingxiao held his chin, forcing him to meet her gaze. A faint smile played on her lips, her gaze exceptionally hot, silently conveying an ambiguous signal. Sheng Yu's eyes darkened, his Adam's apple unconsciously bobbing. His voice, husky with arousal, asked, What are you going to do? Song Qingxiao gently rubbed his lips with her thumb, her voice low and slow. I want to. Before she could finish her sentence, Sheng Yu's muscles tensed all over. Song Qingxiao chuckled softly, leaned close to his ear, and as her thin lips parted, she gently took his earlobe between them. Her finger lightly traced circles on his chest. Don't be nervous. This elder sister just wants to check your study results. Song Qingxiao had only meant to tease him, but she hadn't expected Sheng Yu's body to tremble slightly. Immediately, he extended a long arm and lifted her directly. Song Qingxiao felt her body lighten. The next moment, the leather seat beneath her bottom became a pair of strong, powerful thighs. Before she could even be surprised by Sheng Yu's initiative, her nape was seized and her lips were blocked. He sucked and nibbled on her lips, delving deeper little by little, playfully hooking her tongue tip, with force sometimes heavy, sometimes light, making her heart itch irresistibly. Both their breaths grew ragged, intertwining and lingering, echoing with their pounding heartbeats in a confined space. Song Qingxiao's hand unconsciously slipped under the hem of Sheng Yu's t-shirt, gently caressing his firm, strong waist. Unprepared, a sensual groan escaped Sheng Yu's lips. The hand clamped around her waist suddenly tightened, deepening the kiss with force. After an unknown amount of time, Sheng Yu suddenly pressed down on her mischievous hand, reluctantly released her lips, and pulled them apart. His deep eyes were slightly red, steeped in a beautiful flush of passion, and the veins on his neck bulged, concealing a trace of restraint and forbearance. Song Qingxiao, don't move. Song Qingxiao silently admired the beautiful scenery before her, then leaned in and pecked his lips repeatedly. Didn't have time to study the next lessons? Or, Song Qingxiao bit his lip lightly, only to let out a low, mischievous chuckle when she felt his muscles grow even tauter. Didn't learn it? You. Sheng Yu glared at her in shame and anger. Song Qingxiao chuckled. If you don't know how, elder sister can teach you. Sheng Yu gripped her waist tightly, gritting his teeth. Who says I don't know how? Song Qingxiao raised an eyebrow playfully. Sheng Yu, his face flushed, looked away. How was my performance this time? Can I be your boyfriend? Song Qingxiao truly couldn't hold back and let out a giggle. Sheng Yu frowned, looking at her. Song Qingxiao pinched his cheek. You performed very well today, made huge progress, and I was very comfortable. However, Song Qingxiao paused deliberately, feigning difficulty. Sheng Yu asked seriously, however what? Song Qingxiao sighed. You've got me all worked up, but then you called off the troops halfway, tisk. Points deducted. Sheng Yu argued in dissatisfaction. You just touched my waistband, and any further I. As Sheng Yu recalled the recent scene, his face instantly flushed crimson, and he couldn't speak any further. Compared to Sheng Yu's thin skin, Song Qingxiao clearly had a lower moral threshold, and without any psychological burden, she said, That's just the judging standard. There's nothing I can do about it. Sheng Yu choked, his expression conflicted. After all, Song Qingxiao wasn't completely heartless. She kissed the tip of his nose and coaxed softly. Given how hard you're studying, I'll make an exception for you. How about cumulative scores? Sheng Yu's eyes lit up. The next moment, a hint of scrutiny appeared in his gaze. It seems elder sister has many examples from before. Because of family reasons, Song Qinxiao had always hated explaining and hated making promises. Perhaps it was because Shang Yu had never been in love before, so he retained a rare sense of genuine earnestness. Or perhaps Song Qinxiao was in a good mood. Whatever the reason, she found herself uncharacteristically patient with his sudden jealousy. Song Qinxiao cupped his face and said earnestly, "You're the only exception. Sometimes what people in love need isn't to be told there's only been you from past to present, but rather you're the only exception from past to present, a kind of special favoritism." Joy suddenly appeared in Sheng Yu's eyes, bright and unconcealed. Song Qinxiao seemed to be infected by his emotion and couldn't help but curve her lips. Just as she was about to speak, her lips were enthusiastically sealed. As Song Qinxiao responded, she couldn't help but think how easily he's appeased. But soon, she had no time for other thoughts, completely immersed in the overwhelming passion of her little wolf dog. It was only 6 in the evening when Song Qinxiao came to pick up Sheng Yu, but by the time they sat down to eat, it was already past 7. The place was chosen by Sheng Yu, unlike Song Qinxiao's usual dating spots. It was the middle of summer, and the two sat on the curb eating barbecue, their bodies constantly glistening with sweat. Yet, Song Qinxiao didn't find it unpleasant at all. As she admired Sheng Yu's handsome face and enjoyed his attentive service, her mood could even be described as uncommonly cheerful. Song Qinxiao looked at the iced beer in Sheng Yu's hand, licked her lips, and said, "I want some too." Sheng Yu glanced at her, then immediately raised his hand, intending to call the boss. Song Qinxiao pressed his hand down, smiling, "I want a drink from yours." Sheng Yu paused, then hesitated, "But I've already drunk from it." Song Qinxiao was amused by him, shaking with laughter. The lamb skewer in her hand slipped and clattered onto the table. Sheng Yu didn't know what he had said wrong to make her laugh like that, but he still kept a straight face as he gently patted her back, helping her to catch her breath. "Be careful, don't choke." When Song Qinxiao had laughed enough, she wiped away tears from the corners of her eyes. "You're so cute." Sheng Yu frowned, partly puzzled by why she said that, and partly unable to understand why she would use such a sweet and adorable word like cute to describe him. However, Song Qinxiao's next words made him blush amidst his confusion. "I've already kissed your lips. Why would I be afraid of an indirect kiss?" As she spoke, she didn't deliberately lower her voice, but used a normal volume, naturally attracting the attention of other guests. Feeling the scrutinizing gazes from around them, Sheng Yu's face instantly flushed crimson. "Song Qinxiao, what's wrong? We've already kissed, and I'm not allowed to say it? You're not trying to shirk responsibility, are you?" "Of course not. I'll definitely take responsibility." "Oh, really? Then show me your responsible attitude." Sheng Yu pursed his lips and stared at her for 2 seconds. "How do I show it?" Song Qinxiao suppressed the urge to laugh and said solemnly, "Just prove it with what we were just talking about." After Song Qinxiao finished speaking, she watched him at her leisure. Sheng Yu clenched the hand resting on his knee, watching Song Qinxiao silently. After a moment, as if steeling himself, he took a deep breath, then closed his eyes and slowly leaned towards her lips. His face was slightly flushed, his eyelashes trembled lightly from excessive nervousness. He looked utterly innocent, yet his taut jawline and the veins bulging at the side of his neck exuded an alluring desire. Two extreme contrasts blended in him, revealing an uncanny sense of incongruity, yet also an irresistible allure. Song Qinxiao's eyebrow twitched slightly, the corners of her lips unconsciously curving upwards as she quietly appreciated the handsome face magnified before her. Just as their lips were mere inches apart, she suddenly reached out, gently pressing his lips with a gesture of refusal. The soft touch made her instinctively rub them again. Sheng Yu's eyes snapped open. In their dark depths, there was shyness, astonishment, and a faint, almost imperceptible flicker of desire stirring, ready to ignite like a spark into a raging wildfire. Song Qinxiao felt as if her heart was gently brushed by a feather, an itchy sensation she had to suppress. Song Qinxiao said with a half-smile, "What are you doing?" Sheng Yu looked puzzled. Song Qinxiao lowered her gaze, glancing at his slightly pursed lips, then mischievously tapped them twice. "This is a public place, and there are children around. Are you trying to openly act like a pervert?" Sheng Yu glanced to the side, meeting the curious gaze of a little girl. He snapped upright, then shot Song Qinxiao a fierce glare. "You did that on purpose," he said in a low voice. "What on purpose?" "I just want a sip of beer." Song Qinxiao feigned innocence, then turned the tables on him. "I didn't expect you would actually try to kiss me." Sheng Yu narrowed his eyes, then suddenly let out a snort of laughter. "Song Qinxiao, You deliberately lured me. Song Qingxiao gave an ambiguous hum, seeming to admit it, yet also as if questioning back. Shang Yu secretly squeezed his palm, then tilted his head back and took a mouthful of beer. Before Song Qingxiao could react, he stretched out a hand, gripped the back of her neck, then forcefully covered her lips, slowly transferring the beer from his mouth to hers. Just as she was about to swallow, he forcibly hooked her soft, slippery tongue, plundering the liquid from her mouth. Ambiguous wet sounds escaped from their entwined lips and teeth. Even the evening breeze seemed to be tinged with ambiguity. It wasn't until he felt Song Qingxiao pushing him that Shang Yu reluctantly pulled back. As he withdrew, he even extended the tip of his tongue to capture the last drop of beer from her lips. Song Qingxiao gasped softly, smoothing her disheveled hair. As she looked up, her gaze swept over his ear tips, which were red as if dripping blood, and for a moment she was torn between laughter and tears. Oh, so the little wolf dog has two faces. He's both domineering and forceful, and innocent and shy. However, all her good mood was shattered by a couple on the street, an older husband and a young wife. Song Qingxiao watched the two people in the distance, whose intimate gestures were sickening, and her gaze gradually turned cold. Shang Yu acutely noticed Song Qingxiao's change in mood and curiously followed her gaze. He saw a young, beautiful, and innocent-looking girl arm in arm with a pot-bellied middle-aged man in his 50s. The strange pairing was already unsettling, but the man's large hand was still lingering suggestively on the girl's shoulder and chest, while the girl smiled, her face brimming with coy shyness. Shang Yu's brows furrowed deeply. He pulled back his gaze and noticed that Song Qingxiao had, at some point, taken his beer and was languidly pouring it into her mouth. For no apparent reason, he sensed that Song Qingxiao was in a very bad mood, perhaps even a terrible one. Shang Yu reached out and stopped her from drinking. All sorts of things happen in this world. When you see something unpleasant, just pretend you didn't. Meeting his worried gaze, Song Qingxiao's heart suddenly softened. Some things are easier said than done. Do you know who those two are? Shang Yu shook his head. Someone you know? Song Qingxiao gave a small laugh, then gestured with her chin towards the two people walking into the hotel. One is my dad, and the other is my good friend from high school. Shang Yu looked at the two in shock, then turned to Song Qingxiao, his eyes filled with heartache. He couldn't fathom what kind of father would get involved with his daughter's friend. The point is, that woman met my dad through me, and then the two of them got together in my house. Song Qingxiao smiled faintly. Isn't that disgusting? Shang Yu raised his hand and gently brushed back the strands of hair blown loose by the wind near her ear. They're the disgusting ones. It has nothing to do with you. Song Qingxiao took a sip of beer, then lazily curled the corner of her lips. I know, but it still feels disgusting. Shang Yu looked at her seriously, then suddenly said, Song Qingxiao. Song Qingxiao responded with an uncomprehending Shang Yu said, you don't have to smile when you don't want to. You're clearly unhappy. Don't force yourself to smile. Song Qingxiao's heart trembled. She looked up and met his gaze. Shang Yu pulled her into his embrace. Some people don't deserve to be fathers. Some don't even deserve to be human. If you're unhappy, then make the people who made you unhappy even more miserable. Song Qingxiao leaned against his chest, listening to his strong heartbeat, her emotions gradually calming. You're right. Since I'm unhappy, I naturally can't let off the people who made me unhappy. Whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. With me here, no one will bully you. With you good supporting me, naturally no one can bully me. Song Qingxiao, are you teasing me again? The little wolf dog isn't so easy to fool anymore. Song Qingxiao, I'm clearly older than you. Why don't you call me Jie Jie? Say Jie Jie, and let me hear it. Song Qingxiao hooked Shang Yu's chin, shamelessly making her demand. Shang Yu bluntly spat out two words. No way. Song Qingxiao hinted meaningfully. If a younger man doesn't call an older woman Jie, his intentions are obvious. Shang Yu looked at her with a half-smile, clearly not taking the bait. Song Qingxiao feigned a sigh. I'm in a bad mood. If someone could call me Jie Jie right now, my mood might improve. Shang Yu narrowed his eyes dangerously. Are you trying such an obvious trick on me? Song Qingxiao switched to a beaming smile. So, are you falling for the trap or not? Shang Yu pressed his tongue against his cheek, then looked at her with deep eyes. Jie Jie. As the two bickered, the wail of a police siren grew from a distance, and soon a police car pulled up in front of the hotel across the street. Song Qingxiao sipped her drink intermittently, her gaze curiously observing the commotion across the street. What do you think their reaction will be next? Certainly not pleasant. Good. As long as they're unhappy, I'll be happy. Cheers. Drink less. No can do, my mood's just too good. Facts prove that energy is indeed conserved. For instance, someone's good mood might come at the expense of their physical well-being. In the middle of the night, Sheng Yu, looking anxious, rushed into the hospital carrying a certain pale-faced person. After a series of examinations, Song Qingxiao was diagnosed with a gastric ulcer. Listening to the doctor list a long series of precautions, Sheng Yu's brows were so deeply furrowed they could pinch a fly. By the time they left the hospital after the 4-drip, Sheng Yu's expression was still grim. Song Qingxiao lightly poked his cheek. "Don't be so serious, smile a little." Sheng Yu stiffly tugged at the corners of his mouth, giving Song Qingxiao a forced, humorless smile.